we're going to bring in JW hot off the bench. We were supposed to have a little Kim Clijsters. We reached out to our friend Blair Henley, and just schedules are a mess today. JW, the old faithful, coming in from, are you in a bunker somewhere? Where are you right now?
I'm going to blink twice, and then you're going to send gruel. I'm in an Airbnb in Paris. I'm not wearing this scarf because I'm a big fan of España of La Liga. I'm wearing it because it's really cold in this Airbnb. But no complaints. I do think trading Kim Clijsters for me is pretty lopsided. You need a new general manager, but good to be with you here.
Well, Kim, listen, it's out of our hands. Kim's Achilles and legs are giving her fits right now in the doctor's orders, so we had to replace JW. Thanks for being a good sport and jumping on. We know that you don't have much time. I think the story of last week, obviously, Rybakina's dominance at the WTA Finals in Saudi Arabia, going through Anisimova, pretty straightforward. Iga, Alexandrova, Pegula, Sabalenka, 5-0 on the trot. We were crazy enough 2 weeks ago on the show to say that we think she's going to have a massive 2026. This didn't do much to dispel that prediction, did it?
No, I couldn't remember if it was you or Courier who I was arguing. It must have been Courier, because I think we were pretty good on Rybakina. And yeah, I mean, we talked last week about how there's not always a ton of predictive value in these year-end events, but watch her play, watch her serve her way out of trouble, watch her authoritative tennis, watch her get it done in November, and you cannot help think she has put herself right back squarely in the conversation of who's going to win majors next year. That was thoroughly, thoroughly impressive.
Yeah, and I think one of the things is I don't know that anyone's ever been worried about the on-the-court product with Rybakina when all is well, right? There has been some turmoil, and obviously there's still some lingering effects from Vukov. And, what did you make of her not taking a picture with the WTA CEO at the end? It seems like there are still some feelings about how everything went down and the fact that they just suspended her coach, and I don't know how else to define it. I won't go there, but there still seems to be some issue.
Yeah, this is a player who doesn't give up much. I don't know if you saw her reaction before she spurned WTA CEO Portia Archer at the trophy presentation ceremony. I don't know if you saw her reaction on match point. Not exactly cartwheels. This is not a player who's particularly expressive. So that gesture, basically not acknowledging the WTA, was actually a rare glimpse into her personality. I don't think the WTA has any apologizing to do. You get a complaint about a situation, you're almost obligated to look into it. There's a code of conduct. They determined the coach violated that term of conduct. WTA did nothing wrong, in my opinion. But I think it said something that she's still defiant about that. And also, this situation frightened a lot of people really close to the center of it. The fact that here we are, and we're talking about her as a future major champion, and she won $5 million, and from outside looking in, seems comfortable and happy with the coach. They've had some nice results. In a way, we could say this situation could have gone a lot darker. We should be happy for everyone involved. But yeah, I thought this is not a player who gives up much. She's got that Red Bull sponsorship, and we sort of kid about that. It's a very curious pairing of player and product. She doesn't give off a lot of Red Bull energy, but that gesture with the CEO, that actually was a glimpse into her character that she doesn't often provide.
I got one for you. As you look into your crystal ball for next year, if I gave you these two players and you were to tell me this one is going to win a major next year, and I gave you Anisimova and Rybakina, what say you?
Ooh, that's a good one. Oh, man. I'm going to make you answer the same question. One of them, of course, has reached the finals of two majors on the trot, and the other is former Wimbledon champion who very nearly won Australia as well. I think I might, recency effect, I might go Rybakina. I mean, that serve that's one of the great weapons in modern tennis, that serve of hers. People see that scoreline, that 7-6, and they'll say, oh, she beat Sabalenka in a tiebreaker. That doesn't happen very often. What happened in the 20 or so minutes before that is worth going back and watching if you have a chance. That serve bailed her out of so many potentially problematic situations. I'm going to say Rybakina because of the serve. What do you say?
I think I say Rybakina just because she's better on clay. So it's like one more opportunity, right? I think she's won Rome before. It's not her best surface by any means. I think they have the same limitations on the surface. but it's more does she have 3.5 chances at the slams versus 3? I don't know. Anna Samova's been to the semis there before as well in her breakout. So I asked the question because I don't have a confident response either way. I do think Rybakina has the best serve in women's tennis. It seems like when you say, Gauff and Iga and Sabalenka, and you slot Rybakina into that conversation, and none of them want to play her, right? Sabalenka, she's one of the only ones I can go toe-to-toe with the consistency of a Sabalenka. Well, Sabalenka's not getting easy looks to knock off second serve returns. I think Rybakina, but let's also be sober here, right? We're talking about Anna Samova against someone who has been at the top of the game, won Wimbledon, and we're saying an either or, and we don't know the answer. And if we rewind 18 months with Anna Samova, she wasn't in the main draw of Wimbledon. Hell of a year for Anna Samova. Great job for Rybakina going through World Tour Finals. How much stock do you put into this? Because normally I'm like, I think we overvalue year-end finals. But then it's like Rybakina, and I put a little bit more stock into it. Why do I do that? Do you have that kind of same leaning?
I think I'm taking off this ridiculous. God bless España. I can't sit here and do a podcast in a ridiculous soccer scarf. I'm sorry. Gonna have to cut that out. Where were we? No, I think I think the women probably have a little bit more sort of, again, predictive value. I think some of this is just eye test. I mean, you look at the way she served in that final, for example. Look at the way she stared down Sabalenka in a tiebreak. You just know it when you see it. This is also, again, this is a player who we know how good she is. This is someone who very nearly has 2 majors, and she does have 1. I also think you sort of look at the women's tennis field. We talk about it's Sinner and Alcaraz and a long staircase down. Women's tennis field is not any given Sunday anymore. I mean, there's a certain level of parity at the top. We had 4 major winners, of course, but that core group, they were there in 2024. They were there right now. I think we know how good they are when they're beating each other. And I also think that surface, that field, I think you just look at how Rybakina played, and it passes the eye test of this is a player who's back, as you say. And, it's interesting. She and Anna Samova have both had this sort of, it's been a bit of sort of mercurial careers for 2 very different reasons, but it's off court and not injury related. I just think you sort of, you know it when you see it. And yeah, I think those are 2 players that will be contending for slams next year, no matter what.
Yeah, very simply, when Anna Samova or Rybakina are playing one of the top players, you don't really worry about them, right? It's just the only thing the only place that I think Coco, Iga, Saba separate are the random second rounds and third rounds and, round of 16 potential losses, right? It feels like they're always able to get into position to face, one of the other top 2 or 3, whereas Anna Samova, this is not accounting for the last, 5 months of the season, but just for the look forward before that, and Rybakina, it's just a little bit more of a heart rate monitor to get to those quarter semis finals. But it does feel like they're both in the latter half of this year making a habit of it. Listen, I'm here for the parity. 4 different winners at 4 different majors this year. I think that's a lot of fun. While also, I don't know that we see someone where we had like Vondrousova when she wins Wimbledon, for example. Even Rybakina when she won Wimbledon wasn't a top 5 player at that time. I don't know that we're going to see someone who's 30 in the world go through and win a slam next year. So it's parity, but it feels like it has a ceiling a little bit for the outlier results. So congrats again to Elena Rybakina, just a hell of a run. 5-0 sweep, World Tour Finals, those names, props, well done. Serve was in full flight. Hopefully a sign of things to come for her moving into 2026. I certainly think she's going to have an absolute monster of 2026. I think you slot her into the top 3 in the world year-end rankings next year. Clip it. We'll see if it makes good.